Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are picking up right where we left off from yesterday's video. Well, last video. This did perform for the time that I needed it to. You know, I've already tucked this once for those that are not aware. As you can see, I've already chopped about 4 or 5 feet out of length from here and then obviously extended harnesses back up to the front of the vehicle. This is, if you're not aware, we are working on my S13, man. We're tossing a 1JZ in here. It's gonna be a very cool build. So if you guys have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so, man. It'll be really cool. I know this time is kind of hard for all of us, but if you are able to go ahead and help support your boy, I do have my Patreon link down below. It's like the first top thing in the description. I never really promote it just because I never really, you know, whatever. But this time I just want to put it out there for those that actually would like to go ahead and support me. Means a lot, and the support from you guys every month. Currently we're like 60 bucks a month, and you know it's something, but if we could get that up a little bit, it would really help me out and get some more content out to you guys. But regardless, let's get back to the content. Right now I am working on, well, okay, let's take a step back. First off, I got my Texas pecan tea, or not my tea, my coffee. So I got all of this accessory stuff here. This is basically just harnesses going back to the front of the vehicle, like, you know, my headlights, and this is everything that needs to be rerouted back to the front of the car. So we have our main harness. This is where one of the fuse boxes was, and this is where the second one was. I've already got the right length, you know, for the first fuse box mounting position, so we're gonna base it off of this. Now this has to basically connect up to around here. So I have to go around here and dissect, take the wires back from here, trace them back. It's gonna be a fun time, man, of just dissecting and figuring it out. I'll bring you guys along the journey. If I have some updates and some news and some cool stuff to share with you guys, I will let you all know. But I'm gonna go ahead and dive in, start just one harness at a time, man. Just gonna remake it, get rid of all the butt connectors, solder up everything all proper with some heat shrink, change some wires if I need to. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's get this started. All right, brief update, guys. Hours and hours and hours have passed, man. I have been grinding so hard on this harness. So as you guys can see, I've basically got everything for the driver's side all remade and ready to be loomed up and put back into the harness. So here we have like our lights, you know, this is the wiper and the brake and more headlight stuff. And so yeah, it's coming along pretty well. You guys can see I did like the little twirl method. So basically what happens is when you want to go ahead and do something like this is you tape the end of the loom to a drill, go ahead and spin that drill up. It's gonna go ahead and wind up the whole harness, make it look all nice and clean and kind of bunched up together, all nice. As you guys can see, it looks super good. So now I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of wrap it all up in some Tessa tape. So if you guys have not heard of Tessa tape, this stuff is in my Amazon store. I'll have that link down in the description. But this tape here is like a nice felt, really nice interior type tape. I actually use this tape on the Z, on the engine harness as well, and it's keeping up really well. So as you guys can see, I've kind of got a little bit of it here. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and loom all this together, and we should be basically complete with the driver's side. All right, guys, check it out. Looking so clean. So the Tessa tape really makes this thing look really good. So I just have it coiled up right now, but you can see the transformation is so real. This chopped portion of the harness, which is the other fuse box, to be about here. So this is where I want to go ahead and hook up the next fuse box. So we'll have one fuse box right on here, and then this one will essentially, the goal is to have it wired up right here. So to start off this process, basically I'm gonna just start one wire at a time. So I got this orange wire here, you guys can see. I'm just gonna follow it all the way back till where it ends, right where I want it to. So I'm gonna chop it there, bam, wired up. Now, Some things are tied into each other, so I'll have to kind of figure that out as I go. All right, my dude, so I just realized I have 2 of these exact same red and white wires, and they do go to different parts on the fuse box. The way I just double check to make sure I'm wiring the right wire to the correct, obviously, location is, I went to the actual plug, right? I found the wires here in the harness. I got the old multimeter out, set it to the old continuity setting right there, the little signal. So basically what happens when the 2 touch, make a noise. So you see that, hang on. That's that little signal right there. The nice thing about that is, you know, you stick it in one end of the wire and then you take it to this wire which you're trying to test, and if it makes a noise, this wire is connected to whatever spot you're testing. So that's how you can tell is, okay, now I can go back to this fuse box and then trace the wire back and make sure it goes to the actual spot that I need to in the box, and then we're good. That way we have double checked and make sure our connections are going to the right spot. Alright guys, so as you can see, I'm making some pretty good progress here. I'm basically left with just this last fuse box to go ahead and solder up to the main harness. So I wanted to go ahead and kind of walk you guys through the process and maybe show you guys a technique or two that maybe you weren't aware of, and it might help you with your work at home. Alright guys, here we go. So you're gonna have some bigger gauge wire. As you guys can see, this is probably like a 10 gauge wire right here. So instead of soldering, you know, you probably could go ahead and get away with it, but for me, I'm gonna go ahead and I actually bought some crimps from Home Depot. I went ahead and grabbed a bunch of these little copper ones, and they actually work really well. Well, what I like to do is just twist the 2 ends together, and I'm gonna still put some heat shrink over this as a little extra. So I got my crimps here. As you guys can see, they have this little notch right here that allows it to go ahead and crimp, I guess a crimp. So I like to get it butted up to the very outside. And then go ahead and feed your wires in. Now this part, you know, I wish you had another hand at this point, but you know, just kind of go ahead and get the 2 wires together. And then all you're gonna do is just go ahead and crimp them down. You guys can see that tooth is really biting in. So what I like to do is walk it across the whole crimp. And then after you do that once, you're actually gonna go ahead and fold this crimp. Okay, so there's step 1. You guys can see we got our kind of taco fold right here. So now we're gonna go ahead and just press these 2 sides together. Takes a little finesse sometimes. Sorry if my hand's in the way, guys. Alright, so there we go. You guys can see, I mean, this is not gonna be coming apart And now you can go and do the extra step, which is gonna be taking your soldering iron, and if you guys really don't want this thing to ever come apart, you're gonna go ahead and get your soldering iron on the highest temperature and just go ahead and start heating up this crimp. I like to actually do it from the bottom. And what's gonna happen eventually, since this is a pretty large piece of metal here, it's gonna take a while. Ideally, you could probably use a torch because you're gonna waste some time heating this thing up. So a torch would be a whole lot quicker, but let's see if we can kind of get this thing started. So what I like to do is just toss a little dab on the actual soldering iron, get it started. You guys can see it'll slowly, as it heats up, it'll work its way into all the crevices. Did you guys see that? You see what it did there? So it melted everything from the top and strung it through. Until that happens, you basically will have a cold solder. So let's try and do this again here. I'm gonna pile it up on top here and I'll show you guys, hopefully it should basically drain it all back down. Okay, so you guys see that puddle there, right? There it goes, see it? So obviously you can go more in depth and more hardcore with it, but I just want to do that just for demonstration purposes. And this is gonna be very hot, so don't put your heat shrink over it until it cools down because it'll just shrink it up instantly. It'll make it impossible to put on. So while that's cooling, I'll just go ahead and show you guys a quick just twist and solder technique. So you're gonna find your two matching ends. I'm gonna go ahead and slide my heat shrink on there. So we found our wire. I'm gonna go ahead and twist them together. I like to just kind of cross them and just start twisting them together. Now this can get a little bit tough. It is super hard on your fingers, guys. If you don't have tough fingers, if you're doing this for as many wires as I've been doing it here, you will definitely hurt yourself. So, strong hands, boys, strong hands. So now, again, same technique. You guys can see I am resting the soldering iron on the back side of the actual wire. Now what you can do is just go ahead and tap that tip of the soldering iron, and as you saw, it brought all of the actual solder in by itself. And you don't need much. You don't need much. You don't need to slather this thing on. We'll take our heat shrink and just go ahead, take your lighter and heat that sucker up. Man, this is a big moment. This is a big moment. So the harness is, what I think, done. I believe it's done. Everything is all connected. Got my last fuse box all wired up, soldered together, and man, I think we're about ready to go ahead and toss this thing in the car. So as you guys can see, it's a major transformation compared to what it was. I mean, just visually, that's just way better. And now it's actually all going in one loom, and it breaks apart where it needs to break apart, and it's just gonna be way more manageable. So I do actually want to talk about quickly the fuse box connections, because as you guys probably know, there was some connections that were inside of your engine bay from the engine harness. So you'll either have to modify your current existing engine harness, and by doing that, it's probably gonna be your lower harness. That's like the proper term, I guess. It's gonna be the one that connects your transmission, your starter, and your fuse box connection. So you'll just have to bring them all out, string them to inside the vehicle, or it depends. You could string these out to the engine bay, just depends on how clean you guys wanna make it. I personally would like to have as little connections or connectors in the engine bay as possible, just to make it look as streamlined and as clean as you can. So what I did before with my original Wiring Specialties harness is I cut all the connectors off and just lengthened what I need to lengthen inside the cabin. So now when I go ahead and order a new harness, I can go ahead and be like, hey, this is my setup. I want you guys to put these connectors here instead of there, and it'll be it'll be just a direct plug-in process like it normally would be. Dude, it is currently hailing outside right now. Where is this coming from? It is hail. That is nuts. I'm on a mission to save Woody, bro. I'm on a mission to save Woody. Woody! I don't know where he's at, but I saw him here. Alright, it's calming down. It's calming down. Oh, it's cold. I don't know where you ran off to, bro. Alright, now I'm just stuck in the middle of it. Now I'm just stuck in the middle of it. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Don't slip on the floor. Whew. And just like that, the sun's coming back out. That was so crazy, dude. I mean, luckily all my cars were safe. You know, we got the Z, the 240, my Skyline's over there. All right, let's go ahead and kind of hop back in. So I got my whole harness installed. It's looking, dude, you can't even tell it's in here. It's pretty awesome, actually. Pretty stoked on it. So it's looking incredible. Sorry if the lighting isn't maybe right, but there we go. Maybe that's helping out. You guys can kind of see it's all loomed in. This one I'm still trying to source the back panel here, so I'm not really able to mount it up just yet. So I think that's gonna be it for this video. I will be posting a lot more frequently now. We have so much content coming up. There's so much happening, guys. A lot of stuff. We actually have a giveaway car, but we'll get to that. Stay tuned. I'm also at this point, I'm doing like the wheel wells right now. I'm just redoing all that. As you guys can see, I didn't really bother wasting the paint on the outside here. So basically from this little edge down will be like a black undercoat, or just at least black paint here, and then undercoat underneath the wheel well. So I went ahead and hit it with some POR 15 in some spots. As you guys can see, just a couple little areas here and there just to go ahead and seal it all up. POR 15 is like a paint over rust paint. It's very, very high strength. If you guys are doing like a rust repair, paint prep, or just kind of rust prevention, go ahead and check out POR 15. It's a great product. There's Woody. Woody, how you doing, brother? How was that hailstorm, huh? You're all dried up now. So you guys will see the finished wheel wells in the next video, but as you guys can see right here, I have like all my components that are from the front end. So we're gonna go ahead and clean up, paint up the cross member. The tension rod brackets are gonna get painted up and boxed up. We have our Voodoo 13 billet tension rods that are obviously going back in. I have new lower control arms because these ones are just toast. I'm gonna box them in. The hubs of mine are getting, or the spindles are getting modified. I have my 5-lug hubs right there, and then we also got the steering rack right here, which also is gonna get the special treatment and get cleaned up properly. Chillin'. You guys should also stick around because I'm planning on doing a full how-to like swap guide on an AR5 to a JZ. It's a really budget route with the whole transmission deal, and it's way better than R154, at least from what I hear. That is for a video to come. Sorry, it's so bright out there. I will have all that coming up very soon, guys, as well as the 1J install and a lot more apart from that. Skyline should be picking up back soon here eventually. If you guys want to go ahead and grab a sticker down below, that'd be awesome. I will see you guys in the next one, man. I kind of hurt my finger too. You guys see that? My damn nail, sorry. I don't know, sorry if you guys don't like that kind of stuff, but yeah, my finger's throbbing. Long story. I really, even if I had a glove on or hand protection, it still would have happened. It's just the way I was. It's okay, we'll heal up. But all right, guys, make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.